Hi there, I'm Scott from By the Brush Miniatures, and today we are going to decide what is better between contrast and classic method once and for all. For this video I'm going to be helped by Brother Rouse, and we are going to get right into it. We're going to paint him using contrast first, and we're going to see how long it takes and take a look at the result. I'm just going to focus on the legs, and we're going to just apply a good coat of contrast on the left leg, the right leg, so our left, and then a good coat. I say good coat, but I'm going to apply the classic method just to the other leg so you can see what really works better. So contrast, we're going to give it a good shake just until most of this clouding's gone. You don't actually have to get rid of it completely. They say that you have to shake it for like a long time, but you don't. It's just not the case. So I'm going to do Ultramarines blue just to go for the classic Ultramarines colour scheme. Just going to get a good amount on the brush, apply it to the palette. There, just till we've got a good amount. And when you're using contrast, just make sure that you do apply it in the strokes need to go in the same direction, otherwise it's gonna make this sort of mushy texture that you don't really want, where there's all sorts of different brush strokes going all over the place. So far we're getting quite a nice result, settling in the recesses, and it does actually it pulls away from the edges, so it does actually create a little bit of an edge highlight as well. Remember, when you paint with contrast, you can't go back over the bits you've already done. So if, say, you've not got sufficient coverage, it is a bit tough, because if you go back over it, then you start getting different stroke lines, and you just mush it all over. A bit like that there, you'll not get a smooth finish. And just like that, our coat of contrast has been done. We're gonna let that dry while we then move straight on to the classic method. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to apply a base coat of Macragge blue and then go over it with a shade of Nuln oil, a wash, and then we're going to go back over it with another layer of Macragge blue, slightly thinner, just missing out on the recesses, and then we're going to do a final edge highlight of the Fang. So we're just going to get a decent dollop of that. I've already got my brush nice and wet, so it should be, yeah, nice and thinned down. Remember to thin your paints. And we're just going to apply it like so. And with the base coat now applied, we're going to leave that to dry. Just because we've painted only the leg, it's just going to, obviously, because if you're painting the whole thing, then it'll tend to be dry everywhere that you painted the earliest. But because we're only doing one small area, it's not completely dry yet. And we'll be moving on to the shade of Nuln oil. We're just going to apply the wash all over where we've base coated it. Just not letting it pool. Trying to work it into the recesses. And with the wash now applied, we're just going to wait for a few minutes for it to fully dry. The wash is now dry, so we're going to put another layer of Guilliman blue over the top. Just making sure that you're missing out them recesses. Now for the final stage of the classic method, we're going to do an edge highlight of the Fang. And with that done, there we have the finished product. So I think in total, they both make pretty good effects. I just think the classic method gives a much smoother finish. The contrast method can look a bit patchy, but I feel like the washing in the contrast method it's not as depthful. On the classic method you can see more where it's settled in the recesses, but it's just the right colour. On the contrast method, obviously you can use a different wash as well, but generally the one I'm going to go with is Nuln oil. It creates a deeper recess though, which is something I really do like and appreciate. So yeah, in total I think classic method is brilliant if you want the best outcome. Obviously for time, that we did it just straight like 15 seconds. This took a lot longer to do. And I just think contrast, it does look alright. Then again, it doesn't exactly have the right colour. This is a darker sort of blue, which fits the Ultramarines more, and I mean the contrast paint is literally called Ultramarines blue, and just doesn't seem to have that right pigment. So after all that, I think we can say both have their benefits, but of course I think if you want the best looking model, then classic method is the way to go over contrast. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe if you want more videos like this. You can follow the link in the description to our Patreon and support the channel that way. It would really be a massive help. You can also follow us on Instagram and have a look at what we are doing in our own project and also for video projects, etc. Everything like that. Thank you for the view and I'll see you later.